I am hitting record because I assume this is about UFC 246. Yes, I have a good Coors Light buzz from the Chiefs game that's been going on. A lot of energy here, Raph, but you go ahead and introduce the guest if you can catch your breath from training in time. And if your partner doesn't mind returning your back, I heard he took it and deposited it in a bank account. But if you don't mind just introducing who I will be shredding tonight, it's time for Verbal Time.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce him in a second, but I want to talk about this game because we need to make sure that people in the time capsule know this isn't just some ordinary game that Kevin experienced today. This was a massive comeback for his beloved Chiefs. Kev, could you describe the emotions you went through the songs of Miley Cyrus?
Well, it started with, I'm in a terrible space. Because they spotted the team 21 points. I've never seen that before. I didn't know a team could get 21 points before the game started, but somehow the Texans up 21-0. And then I am really blanking on just like everything. I'm trying to find a gritty transitional Miley Cyrus song before I get to Party in the USA, which is everything that the second half was. It was just effing spectacular. No stilettos. Everybody was good. So I'm right there deep at the end of Wrecking Ball, but like, what was that most recent song she just did with the chorus? Doesn't matter. That's where I am right now, Ref.
Thank you. I would like to say, first of all, kudos to you for making an effort on that one, because that was a degree of difficulty that was very high for me to give that one to you. I almost gave you Whitney Houston songs, and I was like, I just don't know how many he knows.
Fair.
But the important thing to note here is Kev's team won, and I live in Los Angeles, and I have discovered something about my childhood favorite team that I think is starting to change the way that I view them. I grew up with the 49ers as a kid, and I have discovered that they have an emotional support animal that inspires them and that they go to play with to help them with their emotions. And Kev, it is a dead ringer for Lucy, my French bulldog.
I did see this on ESPN. It was like, how did Raph get his dog in? It's the weirdest way to get free tickets to a game I've heard of.
And so, I've gone from being like, yeah, dogs are fine, to like, I guess I'm going for the 49ers because they have a French bulldog. So, football gods, if you could do us a solid and give us the 49ers versus the Chiefs, Kevin and I will be eternally grateful to you. We'll be happy to give you an MMA fight that we can rig in the future as an exchange. But in the meantime, yes, we have a guest who has to listen to that whole thing. But it's important that we note that, because that's important to us. This gentleman, when we talk about over-under, Kevin, and this is a big one, Kev, we've got Cerrone and you've got the McGregor. I said we need to pull in somebody that Kevin feels threatened by. Because when we did the ADCC, fun live stream, Kev was watching our guest. And when he was asking me a little bit later, he goes, are you going to have that other tall, blonde correspondent that's looking to replace me? And in response to that question, I said a very firm, well, I don't know, maybe he's replacing you. And I thought, well, tonight we might as well audition him. So here, auditioning maybe to take over for Kevin, possibly, probably not, but maybe. Jake Watson. Jake, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm awfully, there were so many emotions to feel with that. First of all, invited on the Verbal Tabcast, and you guys started talking about football. I felt a little out of place, being a privileged Steelers fan. And then now I feel like I'm replacing Kevin. I haven't even met Kevin. That's a tall order, so to speak.
I genuinely voted for it. I was like, Raph, he might be better. When I saw you two were doing something, I think it was ADCZ. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't like it when people are younger and better than me at things. And that's before I started looking at your jiu-jitsu record. Now, outside of the fact that, frankly, you compete too much in Arizona, and I think you'd admit that. Otherwise, just damn impressive. So We'll see how it goes. I wish
We
I
should
hadn't
also-
gotten a buzz on, but it feels good he's a Steelers fan. That
Yeah,
feels
no.
really good.
He's had to live through a lot.
I was born in California, and I've lived in Arizona for like 15 years or something, and I never even stepped foot inside Pennsylvania. So I'm one of those guys that just was born into being a Steelers fan from my dad, who, mind you, has never been to Pennsylvania either. I don't know how he got it, but I was just born into it.
Pittsburgh is a lovely city. Lovely. I would read cold and metally. But it's there, and they put gravy on everything. Strongly recommend you swing by.
I've heard it's very polluted there. Like
That's
the air is not very
just
nice.
liberal horse shit. Sure, it's got a little haze from a little thing we call Earth's nuggets, Cole. But I don't think that's something we should call pollution. That's just one man's opinion.
Okay.
But Jake, shouldn't you also what do you feel in response to Kevin seeing you on the screen and saying you get away from that hussy? You go away from him. You don't talk to him, Raph. And I was like, well, he's a nice enough kid.
Who's the new au pair you've decided to trust the broadcast with?
I'm the dude that what is it? What's the term? It's like the dude that she said not to worry about.
Yes.
I'm that guy.
You are the official meme accompaniment.
You're
to
the
show.
book
Good
club
job.
friend.
Yeah,
or
I'm just
the
that.
guy
I'm just
that,
a study buddy. That's all I am.
Yeah,
To the show.
yeah. The guy from physics that's just really good at helping her understand things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're studying at 2 a.m.
I was
some reason.
pretty confident we were going to bring him on, the show to do an over-under. But then I think somewhere around the time when I mentioned to Kevin, oh, by the way, I'm doing a Christmas bit, and Jake's going to be a correspondent, and he was great in it, by the way. I didn't get a response other than from Kevin, which told me, oh, I need to bring him on for the McGregor fight.
I really enjoyed that. I got so much good feedback from people after we walked around and basically intruded on people's space and asked them what they wanted for Christmas. I remember some people we went up to, I didn't realize they had just got off of a harsh loss, and they were like, "Ah, man, any other day would have been great." And then I got to awkwardly stand there like, "Oh, okay, man, have a good day." Walk away asking my silly Christmas question at a tournament they just put their life into. So that was kind of awkward. But other than that, it was really, really cool. I got to talk to Elliot Marshall, and he's super awesome. I was watching some old Ultimate Fighter clips the other day. He had to break up a fight. He literally put his hand, it was like a bantamweight season. He put his hand on the shirt of one of them and pushed him away. And he's so much bigger than them. It was so funny to see after interviewing him.
Are you talking on Tough?
Yes, on the
Elliot?
Ultimate Fighter.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Elliot Marshall's not a small guy. He's the large human
he's
being.
giant. And there was the season with Cody Garbrandt, and I think one of Cody's the people on his team was trying to get all up in Elliot's face. Elliot literally just one hand pushed him back like he was a child. It made me laugh so hard. But yeah, bottom line is I really enjoyed being a correspondent.
You did a great job. I mean, you're also our first, so that means technically you're our best. So I was very proud of you and the work that you did. And it's not an easy gig to do. And like you mentioned, sometimes people come up from their loss, and unfortunately, and I don't blame athletes for this, but they look at you like, how could you go on after I lost? And I'm like, oh, it didn't happen to me. So I'm okay. It's going to take about a week for you to, be a normal human being again. But get it. Totally sucks. But just tell me what the fuck you want for Christmas. Really is what we're getting down to.
Well, for me, it did happen, though, because I had just gotten off of getting choked that day. And then you're just like, oh, hey, so tomorrow you want to do something? I'm like, yeah, okay. I got off the mat after getting anacondaed by Gabriel Maida. And then he goes on to the finals, and I was all broken up about it. And then Raph is like, oh, hey, good to see you. So tomorrow you want to do something? I was like, yeah, let's do it.
I mean, the worst part is I think there's a moment in the bit that we filmed, and you went up to a whole bunch of people, and I think the best athlete competitor to competitor talk was you and Benjamin Zapata, because Zapata, when you asked him, and I thought this was a good response, he just goes, what do I want for Christmas? To get back my loss that I just had at Nogi Worlds. And, he kind of takes a beat and he thinks about it. And he looks at you and he goes, did you compete? And you're like, oh yeah, definitely got choked out.
And then my favorite part of that was afterwards he was like, Oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, dude, it's no big deal. I got choked out by Cowboy Maida. It wasn't because I underestimated him. It was because he was better than me. And he started laughing and it made him feel a little bit better. So I'm glad my sadness at the expense of someone else's happiness. I can only do that for so long, right? Before I go insane.
Well, all right. We're going to get into psychological issues, I think, momentarily. But, Kev, I know that you've probably been doing your research on the child because you tend to do that while I distract them with questions and banter. Well, let's discuss.
You were born in
Jake,
1997. You're young.
I am old enough to buy a alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, okay. Real strong argument there.
But that's like you can't be a child and have a beer.
Can you run for Congress?
No.
Oh,
can you?
Then fuck off. I'm pretty sure.
And Kev, he is that kind of height where you do think it's two children standing on top of one another. So I would say when he's like, I don't know, what would an adult say? And it's like, Jesus Christ.
I can't be president yet. Mm-hmm. I'm still a year away from that. But, you said you got anaconda, and all I could think of was the movie with Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, shit, that's the year he was born. Zero chance he's seen the movie Anaconda. So I put that one
I know
back
about it.
I
just haven't seen it.
You are missing out. It is John Voight before, I don't know. It's just John Voight. So somehow he's gotten younger. I have a few questions for you, sir, if you don't mind. Now, your resume on BJJ Heroes highlights a lot of wins. Super helpful, and thank you to them. Do you mind telling me, is the Gabriel Maida the most painful recent loss? What's your most recent loss to? Like, damn it.
Probably Hebamar. Because I fought Hebamar, and it was on Fight to Win. It was a very close fight. It was a fight that I believe I should have won. And a lot of people in the crowd, it was just like the reaction was so perfect to make me feel bad because it was like as soon as he got the flags raised for him, everyone in the crowd went and like gasped. And it was like, man, yeah, even the crowd knows that I should have won that. No disrespect to Hebamar. I love the guy, and it was a really, really good fight. But I threw up submission attacks the whole fight, and he wasn't able to pass my guard or really mount any offense. And it was one of those losses that I felt like, man, I did everything I could, and it kind of wasn't even – it almost felt like it wasn't my fault that I lost. Of course it was. I should have gone harder, or there was maybe more opportunities, or I could have prepared better. I could go down that list. But that's the only loss there that I feel like I didn't lose. Every other one I kind of either got beat. Like Michael Lera totally destroyed me. Gabriel Maida choked me. Those ones are kind of easy to get past because, they happened.
But what was your walkout music in the last few
My
fights?
walkout music was I Want It All by Queen.
Okay. All right.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
I was more telling you that. That sounded like I was trying to convince you. Do you like Queen?
I love Queen. Yeah, I'm deep in on. Even to the point where I know there's some backlash because of the biopic. I loved it. Bought it. Still watch it. Good rewatchability. Don't know what to tell people. Enjoyed the movie.
I actually have this joke right now. So I walked out this last Friday for the Fight to Win here in Arizona that I fought at. I walked out to We Will Rock You, and I'm fighting in a week, and I'm going to walk out to We Are the Champions because that's what always happens on the radio. So
don't sleep on Bicycle. They have the "Let Me Ride My Bicycle" song because you are.
I hate that song.
Yeah, but he's gonna freak people out if all of a sudden it's like, "Was that Queen? Is this a song about just a song about a bicycle?" And you're gonna be walking the stage just like everybody's distracted, mofo's. It's time to get anaconda'd.
Oh, but me doing it, not me walking to the stage hoping I get anaconda'd.
I don't care either way personally, but sure, I guess for you.
It's good to know, Kevin. Thank you.
Well, let's discuss this because this is important to note. Kev, he's just coming off a major win at Fight to Win the other night.
Well, it is called Fight to Win. If he had Fight to Lost, that would have sucked. So let's not. Are we going to give him points for just?
Why don't you tell us about that win, sir?
It was against Arnaldo Maidana. Arnaldo won Nogi Worlds in 2017, and I don't remember what division he did, but he's a pretty big dude. I took the fight at 200 pounds. He weighed in at 199. I weighed in at 184. And it was a fight that I pretty much controlled the whole time. I was under the leg in single X for about, I want to say 4 minutes. and then he transitioned to where I swept him, and he transitioned to his under the leg. I ended up passing his guard after like 3 minutes, and I went for an armbar at the end. Really, I felt like I controlled the fight the whole time. There wasn't a lot of submission attempts like you often see in fight to win. But what made the win significant for me anyway was I got my wisdom teeth pulled December 18th, and I couldn't train for 2 weeks, and then I got sick after that. So I really couldn't train for almost a whole month before the fight, and I was really nervous.
You just got your wisdom teeth pulled? Like
December 18th.
Less than a month ago? Ooh.
Less than a month ago, yeah. And it was all 4 of them too. I actually have them sitting on my desk here in a jar. I don't know if I showed Raph or not.
Gross.
I have to change it actually. Yeah, they're getting kind of gross right now. I got to actually change out the dish soap that they're sitting in.
We have questions about that. Why?
Why? Because I wanted to keep them. They're sick. They're like they're really big, and they have the roots all impacted. They didn't have to cut my mouth. They just popped them out. Like the holes are still healing. So they were these wisdom, and this might without context, this sounds really weird. But yeah, they just plucked them all out of my face. And I've been healing ever since, but it was really hard to even eat food for 2 weeks. So I lost like 8 pounds, and I was really, really nervous for the fight. I like we were talking about the fight, but we had a little tangent about these wisdom teeth that are kind of gross now that I'm looking at them.
Well, you're the one that's bringing them up, so clearly it has some sort of play in your ability when you can't train as well.
I will say this. When I got my wisdom teeth taken out, my partner at the time made a spicy chorizo soup that nearly murdered me. So the fact that you were able to fight a few weeks later is impressive to me.
I had an easy time fighting, but I cut my lip like a tiny little bit, and I had like a French fry, and I almost cried. It was awful. The salt got into the wound, and I was like, okay, I'm going to bed.
I did a hefty amount of sleeping. On the way out, though, did they give you one of those spritzers that you have to like spray the holes remaining?
Yeah, I have it still. You had to put. Well, yeah, my mom was like helping me out. She's like, "Here, you need to spray this on your holes." I was like, all right, okay. And then I take the little syringe, the spritzer, and it was like she would pour a bunch of salt into this warm water, and it tasted disgusting in my mouth. Felt like I was in a swimming pool.
Well, let's discuss this because that win, I thought you were done for Fight to Win for a little bit. Turns out not the case. So did Seth just see you backstage and be like, good job, kid. Here, take some more money and fly yourself to San Francisco or Sacramento or one of those.
No, I've known about the Ronaldo fight for the same amount of time that I knew about the Arnaldo fight. I told Seth I wanted to fight as much as possible because he asked me back when I fought Liera. He's like, okay, well, you're ranked number 7 in the world right now by flow grappling. You see that plug there, by the way? But you see how you can fight as many times as you want, really. I mean, if you want to fight and I have an opponent for you, I'll fly you out. I was like, cool, man. So I want to fight like as often as possible. And he's like, whoa. Okay, I don't know how many people at 185 are going to want to fight. So I told him I'd fight at any weight other than like, I don't know, I can't cut weight to 175 or 180. It's just too hard. I'm too tall and skinny. I don't have any body fat.
And hold on, I just want to, on behalf of all the listeners with body fat, tell you to go fuck yourself, but you may go on with your point.
Go on.
I never said that. That was Kevin that said that mean comment. I'm a Christian. I told him I'd fight at 200 pounds, and that's why Arnaldo. And then he offered me Arnaldo like the day after I accepted the Arnaldo fight, and I was like, yeah, because I want to fight Arnaldo. I've always wanted to fight Arnaldo on Fight to Win, because I feel like it'd be a really exciting fight, and people would really like to see it. And then after that, I don't know who I'm gonna fight, but as of right now, I don't have an opponent for another Fight to Win show.
Well, and the nice thing about your two opponents there is you don't have to remember that many vows. You can mostly remember the same name, just change a few out.
Yeah, I fought Orlando, Arnaldo, and Ronaldo.
Wow.
Like, they're all this. And they're all different. They all fight different. They all look different. They're all the different weights.
They sound like you're trying to basically just revise the name. Let's do Ronaldo. Nah, that's not a good one either. Nah, we're workshopping this name. Guys, we're getting Chinese food until we get this name figured out here tonight.
They all end in dough.
Well, as they should. So here's what you may not know has been happening, though, Jake. This time that Kevin has been giving you what seem like friendly banter questions, he's actually getting ammunition to talk trash about you when we transition to the game in a couple minutes. So now I always like to offer an opportunity for cross-examination. What questions for trash talk would you like to ask Kevin that will inform how to insult him as we get into the game?
Oh man. Well, I'm not going to ask you about your like political views, even though you made a liberal joke earlier. What state do you live in?
I live in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not fun. What alcoholic beverage are you drinking right now?
Well, first I was gonna be like, how presumptuous of you, but I am drinking a Coors Light, so you are.
Oh, so you're drinking water. Okay.
Staying hydrated.
Yes. How many of them have you had?
Oh, too difficult to tell, only because I stopped for a few hours and then started up again. But I'd say a 7, give or take.
Hold on.
I think it was a 3.
Jake, it's been a very rough day for Kevin.
The game started early.
Great day.
Look, I saw the chiropractor. I walked the dogs. I had a beer. It's my Sunday. Self-care.
Wow. You started out your day seeing the chiropractor? What happened?
I started this hobby called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu about 10 years ago, and I don't think I need to say a ton more. But
well, shoot, man, you'd think Raf's back was hurting with how hard he's carrying the team on his back right now with this whole operation.
Oh, save it.
Oh, okay, sorry. save it.
Don't get ahead of us. That's the whole point of this show is you're supposed to do that, but I like the eagerness, so
and
I'm very
fun
happy
fact,
about
Raf's back does hurt. Thank you for asking.
But it's mostly due to his. Nope. You know what? Never mind.
Yep. Very good. Very, very good.
Okay.
Do you have any additional questions you'd like to do before we transition, though? I'm going to give you. Go ahead.
What belt are you, Kevin?
I am a purple belt.
I thought you were going to say white belt. He
that
said
would
started
be-
this hobby.
God,
So I was like,
the
no.
podcast itself is like, in terms of jiu-jitsu, the podcast is a solid purple
Okay,
between myself and Kevin. So, yeah, that's the rank that we always tell people. I'm going to stop saying what rank Kevin or myself is. I'm just going to be like, the podcast is a purple. But if you're asking just how we podcast, we're black belts at that.
Plus,
at this point, if you look at the other people, we're red.
It is really hard to get a brown belt. Like it just, I don't. You gotta fight a lot of people and stay healthy. We'll see. Maybe 2021.
I'm also at this point now where I'm telling people I'm like, I'm good here for a bit. I've seen what happens at brown belt to people.
I just learned what the honey hole was. Look, everybody breathe.
Yeah, toe holds and knee bars happen at the brown belt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, they already happened now.
Yeah,
and
I started with a very Brazilian team, so I remember getting genuinely toe holded by my professor at white belt early. You got the toe holds.
I started at 10th Planet, so it might as well been the Wild West. Like if you did anything that looked illegal, they were just kind of like, I mean, you should have stopped it. Well, I feel this is a perfect point to transition to a little game we like to call Over Under Kevin.
And now it's time for another thrilling installment of Over Under Kevin.
We had the music cue back again. Good job, Kevin.
It's part of my.
No, don't do it again.
No, I shut it off. I was like, I gotta go, but I was about to give you another one just for the background because you're being rude about it.
Not being rude. I'm just saying. Last time this happened, you guys don't hear this, or maybe I don't know. I don't listen to our show, but if it got cut out of the last time, there was a moment where I go, and music, and then music didn't happen. So, I just want to celebrate when good things happen that are supposed to on the show, Kevin. That's all.
The magic of being a listener is that they didn't know that little fun factoid, Raph, until you just told them. All they heard was the music. That's funny.
Well, you know what? At some point, I think they kind of already know how the show exists. So I don't know how it's really surprising them. to break apart the movie magic. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the installment of the show that we like to call Over Under Kevin. The way it works is very simple. We go through the entire UFC 246 card. Now, although we technically consider whoever gets the most picks right to be the winner, the actual winner of this program is whoever talks the best amount of trash. If I so deem it, after 15 seconds of analysis, you will get 15 seconds of rebuttal time. Gentlemen, do you both understand the rules? Kevin, do you understand the rules?
He's about to get Hebamard. Round 2, baby. I'm about to flow through this
I'm going
thing.
to actually win? Okay. I need a little bit more of an explanation, if I'm being honest, because can I look at the card, or are you just going to say them, and then I got to kind of guess who these people are?
I'm going out of order, and I'm going to literally call your name, and I'm going to say, here's 15 seconds, tell me who wins, and then I decide if you get rebuttal time.
No one's ever cared enough to ask follow-ups to the ruls before. This is the first time in over-under history someone's been like, I've got some questions about the rules.
This sounds more serious than it is. All right, cool, I'm ready. Whatever. Let's do it.
Yes, you can look at the card, by the way. That was a funny... He's like, do I just have to know who they are? It's like, well...
Well, I don't know.
There's a lot of technology around. I personally am staring at a Wikipedia and a Vegas betting odds, but only one of those is because I have a problem. The others...
Well, at surface level, Kevin appears to sound like a senile old man, but he is, in fact, very witty. And... early prelims, preliminary card, and main card, all of them?
Yeah, but first, can I have you write my next stand-up bio? My God, he's good at this, Raph. That would have been way better than what I used to write.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, here's the good news. You guys are more ready than I ever thought you would be.
Well, hold on. I want to tell you what I wrote. I'm keeping tabs here in an Excel little sheet. And I wrote under mine, I just wrote the KC Pitmasters because I'm feeling a lot of Kansas City pride. That's where I'm from, by the way, Jake. Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can prove to you by not being able to do any math or science, if you ask. But I wrote your title as the Duck Rudolph Disasters. So enjoy that. Settle into that.
What does that even mean? Can you even explain that?
I can. You had two shitty backup quarterbacks for the Steelers all year. One was named Duck. The other was named something Rudolph. I put them together, merged it as a name, and called it the Disaster because they were really bad at quarterback.
I hope not to disappoint you, but I don't watch football. This is all it's not a ruse. I'm not lying to you that I'm a Steelers fan. I just it's more of one of those hey, how'd they do? Oh, they suck this week. Oh, again? Okay. And that's kind of just how it goes for me.
All right, I'll put the Vieira's bitches, and that'll... Nice.
Okay. I'll come to find that one out later, too.
I have good news for you, Jake. There's not anybody who's turning off this podcast because you don't listen to football or watch it. So I think we're okay. I don't think that's a huge admission you're really making.
At
from
least
people.
40% are like, fucking finally, someone told him to shut up about football. Look, it's the playoffs. We don't do this a lot. We'll stop.
There's a fucking adorable French bulldog that we have to get behind.
That is the emotional support animal of the 49ers. That is news. That's just news. That's beyond sports. It's bigger than all.
Listen, we're just trying to keep you guys informed. But here's what we're going to do. We are going to start off in the flyweight category. Kevin, you are going to tell us who is going to win in the matchup between Tim Elliott and Abu Akbar.
That is definitely not at all his name.
Pretty close.
But the flyweight makes it sound cooler, and I love me some Timothy Elliott, but I've got to go with Askar Askarov, because with a name like Double A's, you've learned to defend yourself in a combat match, I feel like.
Okay. Jake, what do you have?
I don't know. That is a sick noise, though. What if I agree with him? I'm not allowed to agree with him, right? Oh, okay. Well, I could just say, Kevin, you're an idiot, but I agree with you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I hope for every time.
Kevin, you're an idiot, but hey, that's a good point. With your first name sounds kind of like your last name, and you're 10-0-1, then I would vote for you against Tim Elliott. Although Tim Elliott does sound pretty familiar to me. I feel like I've seen him fight before.
You have.
Kev, can we discuss something here real quick?
The fact that Tim Elliott's a fellow Sagittarius, and he's basically my age, and Jake's just throwing it aside. Sorry, go ahead, Ralph.
I'm a Sagittarius.
I know you are. I'm staring at your fucking BJJ Heroes bio. But you're just throwing our fellow brother under the bus.
Oh, you're a Sagittarius too?
Yes.
Well, I'm not a 14-year-old white girl, so I don't pay attention to my zodiac sign.
I mean, to be fair, you were born in 1997, and some of our listeners are like, "Aren't you a 15-year-old white girl?"
No, I'm not.
You were
I
born.
just said I'm not a 15-year-old white girl.
Yes, I know.
Listening?
It's a knock on our listeners and saying that they can't do math fast. Dork, stay with me. What I'm doing here, though, is I'm asking Kevin a question, so let the adults talk for 1 second. Kevin, how many questions do you think he's going to have throughout the show? Because I'm going to answer maybe 2 more.
Yeah, I was going to say, I set the over-under at 27 with verbal tapping. I was like, guys, 27, when we put a few hundies in the pot. So we're having
He
fun.
might be the first guest that I'm actually putting sanctions on and saying, listen, you've got 3 questions left. And that's it, kid.
I broke out
think
my
I'm good.
Robert's Rules of Order just to get really efficient here. I noticed he mentioned someone's record. I didn't want to get into any brass tacks, but that felt a little out of bounds.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a featherweight bout next. And we're going to move. And, Jake, you're going to start us off. And it's a bout between Andre Touchy-Feely and Sadiq Your Stuff?
I don't want to try to pronounce his name, and that's why I pick him as the winner. If you can't even pronounce the dude's name, you're already spending that much time figuring him out. That's time he's spending punching you in your mouth.
Kevin, what do you have for us?
I'm going to go with the human HR violation himself, Andre Touchy-Feely. And mostly because Sadiq Yusuf kind of sounds like suck yourself. I'm just going to, I don't want to be the one that gets immature on this podcast, but as a name, it just sounds like Andre Touchy-Feely versus Sadiq Yusuf. Oh my God, I can't wait to hear this one announced. This one's going to be good.
I wonder if he has a nickname.
Sadiq yourself is
He does.
actually
It's
way
Sadiq
funnier.
Handjob Yusuf. It's not the best nickname, but
Family didn't think that one through all the way. Well, let's go to this next one. It's a heavyweight bout, and it is, Kevin, you're starting us off on this one. It's between Oleksiy Oleinik and Maurice Green. 15 seconds on the clock, go.
Maurice. I couldn't tell if I was just obsessed with his name because of Zoolander or if I was impressed by his rotundness, but I'm going with the one, Maurice Green. You can get some good Vegas odds on that one, by the way.
All right, we're going to switch on over. Jake, 15 seconds on the clock. What do you got?
Alexei Oleinik, because he's Russian, and I will always bet on a Russian, especially one that has had like 70 MMA fights before and only lost 13 of them.
Oh, okay, so you're always betting on the Russians?
Versus Maurice Green, yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if this was some sort of weird you're revealing to us. You've been a
He's not
cover
going to
agent.
talk about my political views, but someone seems awfully big fan of the Kremlin.
Mm-hmm.
The Kremlin.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Russian,
No.
it's a Russian term, right?
Where does the Kremlin belong?
I don't know.
Okay, I think we do that pretty well right there.
By the way, Sadiq Yusuf's name is Super. Is his nickname.
Super Yusuf?
No, I
Super
disagree.
Sadiq Yusuf.
Oh. Okay. Well, that doesn't sound better. That sounds
God.
right there in line with.
So anyway, all right, let's go to our next one. Kevin, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I hope so.
Okay. It's going to actually go to Jake on this one. It's a women's strawweight bout. It's Claudia Galdia versus Alexa Grosso. Go.
I'm going to go ahead and pick Claudia Gadelha because she is a deadly viper of a woman. And I believe that she will probably knock this lady out.
Okay. Kev, what do you got for us?
I'm not trying to fully take the side of someone who beat up Madonna, which I believe is Madonna's cousin. I'm fact-checking that. But I am going to have to go with my opponent on this one and stick with Gadidya.
Now, tell me something that you're learning about Kevin and his choices here, Jake.
I think he doesn't actually know very much about MMA. I'm just kidding. That's horrible. I didn't mean that. No, I think he goes with the he goes with the man he can make more jokes about.
Being or woman. Thank you.
Or person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or non-binary. Yeah. But yeah, he goes with the person, male or female, that he can make more jokes about. I like your stretch of a joke with Alexa Grosso.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he chose Maurice because he couldn't make a joke about Alexei Oleinik.
Maybe. Kev, what say you to all this?
I wasn't listening. I was trying to figure out if they actually made a 7th on Heavy Flow Grappling's list. I thought he was just messing with us earlier when he said he was ranked 7th. I was like, are you kidding? They go all the way up to 7? But he is right. He is 7th on the Medium Flow Grappling website.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as you guys know, Flow Grappling, their rankings matter.
I was going through some of his purple belt things, and I'm just like, second place at American No Gi. It's like, what a disappointment. But I'm sure he's over it.
I like how close your face got to your mic. Like, what a disappointment.
Well, this is not Kevin's first time around a microphone.
I like the ASMR that you put behind that.
Yo, Kev, can I make 2 pitches to you real quick on alternate versions of this podcast?
Absolutely.
Number 1, MMA ASMR.
Ooh. Just like, it's like, and then he swung and hit it. We'll have to work on that.
Yep. And the second pitch, which I realized as I was pitching to somebody else this week who said they wanted to start a podcast, because people tell me these things all the time. But the second pitch is, I was like, you can't beat true crime right now. And they're like, true, that's really true. You can really do good things in true crime. And I was like, that's why I think you should do false crime.
I actually did listen to way more episodes than I care to admit about like a fake serial. I forgot what it was called. I was like 6 podcasts in before I was like, all right, I'm done. It's not bad. False crime.
But I told people, I was like, listen, if true crime is so good and we can get a fraction of those numbers, false crime, verbal tapcast, we basically investigate all of the shitty things that have happened in crime form in the sport of MMA and just make up things.
I thought we were going to go a lot deeper on John Jones and just finally get a private investigator on the case, but all right.
Well, we have multiple spinoffs that we're going to talk about another time. Because right now we're going to talk about who's going to win in a lightweight bout between Anthony Showtime Pettis and Carlos Diego Dennis Farina. Yeah, there we go. Boom, go.
Whose turn is it?
Hold on. Who did the last one?
Me.
So Jake, you go again. Go.
I like Carlos Ferrari. I like him versus Anthony Pettis. I feel like Anthony's he's getting old for a fighter, and Carlos is probably new, being 16-2. Carlos Ferrari.
Okay, he's going with Ferrari. Kevin, what do you got for us?
I knew it wouldn't be long before he brought up his ageist views, and they permeated onto this podcast. If you are someone over 35, thank you for listening, and we're sorry about Jake's derogatory comments. I'm going to go with Anthony Pettis. The man still has way more abs than I think I've ever been able to count, so I'm in. Anthony Showtime Pettis. Old is an understatement. I think this is a good fight for him.
And technically, we never got the full Pettis Showtime era, so we could still be in it and not know it. It's just on hold.
Holy shit, though. Diego Ferrara's minus 250. So Anthony Pettis, if you do think he's going to win, you can make some money. He's plus 195.
Maybe I'm not an ageist after all.
No, you might be more on the betting public side of this.
Maybe I secretly did a bunch of research before I came here, and I'm just tiptoeing around Joe.
Not to research.
I didn't actually research, Raph. Gosh, keep your diapers in a don't get your diaper in a wad. Dang it, I messed up the joke, dude.
Wow.
Let's continue. Let's continue.
Was research done or not? I demand.
No, there was
asterisk
no,
next to this game. Asterisk.
There was no research. I promise.
And I want to make this clear to all of our listeners. I want you to relay my exact wording to you when you asked about research.
No, do not do research. Please do not do research. That is not the point of the game.
It is not the point of the game because that's what makes every other show. We want you guys to know that we are the C+ students. We did just enough to make a podcast. So there you have it, people. That is a commitment we kind of make to you.
Good.
Next up, a women's flyweight bout. Kevin, you probably start us off on this one. So why don't you tell us who wins between Roxanne Modafferi, former guest of the show, and Macy Gray?
Yeah. Because there's the cheesecake, right? Do I air with someone we've interviewed with, and I wanted to, but I could not. I have got to go with Macy Barber, mostly because I believe I proclaimed last time she won, I will not vote against her again. I feel like I made this mistake before. And my heart has been in a tough place, The Ultimate Fighter, that is, and it's led me down some wrong paths. I'm entering 2020, and I'm shedding the dead weight. Goodbye to my tough relationship, Raph.
There we go. Progress.
I wasn't ready for all that.
Well, if you listen to the show, young man, you would know that we've interviewed a handful of fighters who have gone on to be major players. A lot of them were Ultimate Fighter people. And when we used to do the Ultimate Fighter interviews, we would always be like, man, we're here on your come up. This is amazing. And then, you know, when we do this game, Kevin would be conflicted. And sometimes he would be like, I'm going to go with this tough alum. And I was like, do you really want to do that? Because this is not a good fight for them. And Kevin's had his heart burned a number of times from it. So this is progress. This is good. This is good for Kev. It's closure.
Well, I guess it's my turn. I think I would very much like to see Roxanne Modafferi win because she watches Dragon Ball Z, and that relates to me being a child, as Raph and Kevin have been calling me. She watches. She's a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, so I hope that she wins. Although Macy Barb, oh God,
yeah, that one's a little loud. Sorry,
my
about that
goodness, it scared me.
I don't think it scared you that bad. I've seen who you've competed against. If a little buzzer is going to make you that scared, we have to discuss some things. Okay, that's a fair assessment. We're starting to get to this point now where we're going to get deeper and deeper on the card. But I hope that you guys know one of the next fights that's coming up I'm very excited for. So we'll chat about that one in the next one. But until then, this is a featherweight bout. And Jake, you lead us off on this one versus Chaz Skelly and Grant Dawson's Creek. Go.
Chaz Skelly, because it almost sounds like one name. I like that. It flows very well. I wonder if Chas is his full name or if it's like short for something longer.
Chassington.
Yeah. Chassington Skellington.
Chassington, you get down here, young man, and you finish your lentil. Kevin, what do you have for us on this one? Yeah.
Wait, you two have completely. Who are we? Who's the fight?
Chaz Skelly and Grant Dawson.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I went deep into James Vanderbeek place when we started talking about Grant Dawson wise. You know what? Screw it. Then I'm going to take him. I don't want to wait for our lives to be over. I want to get it right here the first time. I'm going with Grant Dawson.
That was the most lethargic Vanderbeek plug you've ever had in your entire life.
It's
that
not
was
the
you being
first Vanderbeek plug. It is, I agree with you, the most emotional.
But you sounded like an old vaudevillian who's like, you've seen my act before, kids. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I dropped my pants. All right, there we go, kids. That was the act. It's been a good day. Tip your waitress. That's my time.
He was Matt Damon before there was a Matt Damon. There was a time James Vanderbeek could have stolen Hollywood.
Varsity Blue suggests otherwise.
In West Canaan, Texas.
I still contend, when I saw Varsity Blues as a kid, I looked and I said, that's the worst accent I've ever heard. And then I actually met people from Indiana and I said, oh my God, Vanderbeek's a genius. That's actually a perfect accent.
Crushed it.
It was amazing. We're going to go to our next fight. This one I'm actually so excited about. I'm giving you guys both 30 seconds to say who you think is going to win. Kevin, you start us off. It is a match between Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington. 30 seconds on the clock. Go.
I have not loved the way Holly Holm has fought the last few times. It seems like some things are getting up there. Well, to quote the other person on this podcast, getting a little older in the fight game. Has a lot of miles. That said, this is an unbelievable matchup. I do believe Raquel Pennington's going to get one of those KOs we've been looking for, especially if she can keep this fight off the ground. I'm going with Raquel Pennington. I feel like every time I voted on Raquel Pennington, I've lost, but I'm doing it anyway.
I think so. So Kevin has not learned. Jake, what have you learned about this fight? Go.
I think Holly Holm has this awesome way of formulating a beautiful strategy for her fights. Yeah, it hasn't always worked, but out of her 17 fights, she's won 12 and she only lost 5. And to every one of her losses was against the top level. I mean, Amanda Nunes, yeah, she beat her up, but Amanda Nunes is a freak of nature in that division. So I think Holly Holmes is going to take it. That's my choice, even though she is 38 years old, which isn't a problem. I'm not that's not cool, but
but I'm glad that buzzer came in for your sake, sir. I do want to point this out, Kev. Maybe this is something I didn't say in the intro. The young man over here was originally an MMA fighter, and as a child was fighting, like a real child. Like he was starting his career off as a MMA guy who transitioned to jiu-jitsu, just so you know that.
I actually did read some of that. Enough to be scared. Enough to be nervous about his striking capabilities.
Thank you. I want to I see so many of these jiu-jitsu athletes put like MMA question mark and they're like really badly hitting a bag. And I kind of want to like post my own video, but I also don't want to flex real hard on the community. So I think I'll just keep my guns in my holsters for the sake of not appearing too in love with myself.
Well, it's 2020. Do you love yourself? He's like, I want to avoid the appearance that I love myself too much. It's like, do you? Yes, I do. It's like, embrace it. That's how Brad Pitt got famous. You could do it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't love myself, actually.
All right. Well, we don't have time for this. All right. We have to go to the next
We have time
fight.
for me to complain, but not for anyone else to.
I get my therapy comments in while I'm making a pick. I suggest you do the same.
You're right.
I think so.
I'll wait to self-deprecate myself until it's advantageous for me.
Little rule of thumb: please don't say self-deprecate yourself. Just
Oh yeah, it's an oxymoron. I get you.
He's gonna go
Right,
Saduke yourself off in the corner there. The super Saduke.
Which one's this? This one's Jake. Bantamweight bout between Brian Kelleher, more like Kellehem, versus Ozzy Osbourne, the unknown dog of the Osbourne clan. Go 15 seconds.
Kelleher, I hardly know her. That was God. I thought you guys were gonna laugh. I'm not gonna choose him now. Ozzy Osbourne, because you guys didn't laugh at that. So obviously he's not gonna hit if I'm not gonna hit.
I wish that was the barometer in which most ways people picked their people. You guys didn't laugh at that one? Well, fuck off. I picked him.
No, I'm going with Ozzy Osbourne.
Got it. Kev?
I can't believe Ozzy Osbourne doesn't have a Wikipedia link. That's the bummer of this podcast so far. I'm going to go with Brian Kelleher because I used to love the work he did on 2020. And I really am nervous about Ozzy Osbourne. This could be Ozzy Osbourne just fucking with us. It's like, what if a 70-year-old man walks out there to fight? It's not great.
To be fair, I was working on a joke this week, and it just wouldn't translate without an actual ability to sell it. But here it is. Apparently, Ozzy Osbourne and Elton John are now working on a song together. They've already released the name of the song. It's called, Huh? What? So
I get because Ozzy Osbourne can't speak very well.
Sharon,
He never could. It didn't stop him. I was gonna go the other way and go super specific, but this is a very '90s reference. I was gonna be like,
Yeah.
I heard Ozzy Osbourne bit off the head of a bat at a concert. It's just what I heard. That was a rumor that used to fly around, Jake, about Ozzy Osbourne. That he
Didn't John Fogerty do that too? Bit the head off a chicken.
That one, but
It's
not the
John
other
Fogerty.
one.
Yeah. And how
You
do
don't
you
know John
not know
Fogerty?
that you haven't seen the movie Anaconda, but you're going to talk about John Fogerty? All
Yeah,
right.
this
Your
Creedence
frame of
Clearwater
reference
Revival.
is-
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we know who he
No, I'm
is. It's
back.
just your frame of reference
I'm not
is
sure I did,
all
Ref.
over the place, Jake.
Yeah, I know. Like a
Okay.
smorgasbord of historical knowledge.
I mean, pick some better history, though. Kev, you are going to tell me right here, right now, who wins in this lightweight bout between friend of the show, Drew Dober, and Nasty Nas Hack Est.
Hack harassed, Raph.
Hold on.
First of
Jake,
all,
this is me talking to you real close on my microphone. You understand how this bit works. If you mess up the names, you get another opportunity at the joke. So don't ruin this for me, kid.
Okay.
Anyway, Kev, what do you got for us?
speaking of ab counting, I don't know if you saw Drew Dober's most recent photo, but I spent an hour trying to find all the abs in that thing. He looks yoked. His thighs have never been more glistening with the ham of hard work, and I'm smitten. I'm going with Drew Dober.
All right. What do you got for us, sir? Go, Jake.
I'm gonna agree with Kevin.
About the thighs thing too.
I know. I'm going to agree with your ward, Raph. Yeah, I'm gonna agree because he has more abs than 6, and that means that you've worked very hard to achieve the hidden abs.
Where do they come from?
Drew Dober.
Sacrifice.
Drew Dober famously has also played this game. So I think he knows that we're actually doing this about him right as we speak. And Kev, how did he do against you?
I crushed him like a grape. It was amazing.
So I think Drew Dober will have some vested interest when I text him and tell him which one of you guys actually picked him. And the fact that both of you picked him bodes well. But he's a fucking brick of a person to roll with. So, fuck him
I
too.
just don't want him to come back on the podcast and be like, hey, dipshit, I heard you voted against me.
I know. At this point, we're so pot committed to always being on his side. It's like we're being held at gunpoint and being like, yeah, Drew Dober, great, amazing. Helps with children, too. Walks them across the street. Can't say a bad thing.
He's got a very chiseled jaw as well.
I mean, you know what it is that Drew Dober is somebody, like, how many people do you know that fight and then the other part of their Instagram or their social media is just being a model?
I don't know very many.
Well, Drew Dober is one of them, and if you ever get the opportunity to meet him, you want to try to hate him, but he's so goddamn nice, and it's really annoying.
He
You
looks
just look
like
at him.
he looks like a mean guy though.
No, he fights mean, but he's very nice. Anyway, Kev, we were interrupting. What were you saying?
I don't even remember. I just found the photo I was talking about of Drew Dober, and I feel like I've hit that Men in Black thing. Just forgotten everything that happened.
Fair enough. Let me go ahead and tell you guys what's happening right now. So we have 3 fights left. So as tradition on the show, we usually do a wager of some sort, but not a money wager because all of us do jiu-jitsu, which means we don't make money. But what we do is we put up some kind of bet. Kev, what are the kinds of bets that we've done on the show?
Well, famously, I had the video of all videos done last week, which,
That's right.
oh man, I'm still pretty pleased about. But essentially, it was about how to tap, and it was just fantastic. So things like that, some public apologies, some social media posts, some shirt exchanges. They've run the gamut. Small but personal.
The ones that hurt the most. Now, Jake, without
Yeah.
saying what it is, do you have an idea for a bet with Kevin? It's okay. You've got 3 fights to think about
And
it.
props to Alec
So-
Balding for setting the bar extremely high.
What did Alec Balding do?
He had to do the video that showed how to tap, and did a unnecessary plug for Verbal Tap in doing so. So, yeah, Alec Balding was legitimately doing a video that shows people how to do something, and then in the middle of it was like, and this is how you tap. One might call it a verbal tap, which is a great podcast. And I was like, look at him. He is the shill for us. That's so embarrassing for someone with credibility.
It was.
And the worst part is we always make it so that you can't fully say why you had to do it. So if you're a listener, you're usually in on the joke. But for other people who don't care about us, who maybe don't know who we are, like, why is he doing? Oh, fuck. He lost a bet, didn't he?
And we do know Alec's better than us, but in this particular instance, he gambled.
Not that week. So anyway, you got a couple fights to figure that out. Okay?
Okay. What if Kevin comes up with a better one?
Oh, there's an opportunity for, you guys both pitch, but we do try to defer to the guests so that it doesn't just sound like Kevin and I coming up with shit in the background, just being like, hey, let's make them do this. We try to make it a little fair.
I'm down to two questions now, by the way.
Yep. Don't think I'm not keeping a tally over here.
You weren't.
How do you know that?
Because you acted surprised. But whatever. On to the next one. Let's.
Real good job here. I like this star witness is coming in and doing an interrogation. It's like, he committed the murder. I know, because I heard him on a radio thing. Here we go. Who went last time? Was it Kev?
It was me that went first. Thank you for asking.
All right. So on this one, it's going to be Jake, and it's a women's flyweight bout between Sabrina, the teenage Mazzo, and JJ Abrams Aldich. And Jake, you start us off. 50 seconds or 15. Sorry, go.
Sabina Mazzo. I like Sabina Mazzo. It's like her parents just really wanted to be different and didn't name her Sabrina, so they called her Sabina. I'm gonna feel real bad if she has like some kind of weird hair. Oh yeah, she's Colombian. Never mind.
Kev.
I am going to be going with JJ Aldrich, who is an American mixed martial artist. I don't really have a good particular reason. This is the first fight, but she was on The Ultimate Fighter. Does that count?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
So I'm back.
All right, here we go.
I'm back on the train.
Well, I like that you learned for just long enough, but let's see how it plays out here. It's a bold move. Okay. Kev, you start us off on this one. It's a light heavyweight bout between Aleska Camarillo and Justin Ledet. Go.
I am going with Justin Ledet, and I will tell you why. A Houston fighter, and I don't know if you've been to Corkscrew Barbecue, but there are a few things that are going to show you God right in front of you. And I'm an atheist. I saw it, Raph. Saw it in the brisket, saw it in the turkey. I had a beer at noon on a work day. I don't know what to tell people. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
All right, Jake, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Alexa Kimur. He's 5-0, and on the Google, his picture is much more intimidating than his opponent's. That's black and white, while his opponent's is in color. So
I just didn't want to say his first name because my house robot might think I'm talking to her, so I just didn't want to say it.
I thought the same thing too. I was like, oh, now my lights are going to turn on all of a sudden. Point of order here. Jake, did you refer to it as the Google?
The Google page is what I said, but I think I got interrupted rudely.
You said the Google like an old person.
Oh, so maybe it's time for you guys to stop calling me a kid.
Unless you're on some new website we've never heard of called The Google, which might be, is it better? Raph, hold on. Is this like TikTok?
Oh, shit. Is it like the dark web? Tell us, child. Tell us the important things we need to know.
Gary V told me to go on The Google instead of Google because it was better.
Well, fuck that. It's just, you got to fuck it. And everything you guys do, it's just fuck it. You just go out there and do what you do in your heart. And I'm like, thank you, Gary V. I don't know what the motivation was today, but you did say fuck 100 times.
You guys don't understand that when I was 17 years old, I was selling drugs on the corner, and now I'm yelling at kids. This is the come up.
This is pretty good.
Come up I'm talking about.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Kev. He does impressions. They're not bad.
Okay.
I had to curse a lot more, but I'm keeping my. I'm not being an acid-tongued young man on this show.
Yes, real standard you're setting. Jake, you're gonna tell us in 30 seconds who you think is going to win the main event of the evening. Conor, bus thrower McGregor, or dolly thrower. It's not as good. I like bus thrower. Versus Donald, BMF, Ranch, drinking Budweiser, Cerrone. 30 seconds, go.
Donald Cerrone. When I worked at Whiskey Row, I saw plenty of cowboys or wannabe cowboys that just like him. I know his type, and I know how rowdy they can get. So I'm going to pick Donald Cowboy Cerrone, or if he is actually a cowboy.
Not really, but, you know.
And also, I think he's a really good striker.
Yes.
I want to add that.
He does play a cowboy on TV. Kev, what do you got for us? 30 seconds.
Famously, about a month and a half ago, I made a bet on Donald Cerrone, and I publicly stated I think my odds were like 240. I was like, it's never going to get better than plus 240. I would like to announce to the betting audience I was incorrect. It's now at plus 260. So glad I made the bet 6 weeks ago and didn't call it correctly. Donald Cerrone is going to win this fight, and if you think he's going to win this fight, you can win a lot of money because the heavy money is coming in on Conor McGregor.
That's so fascinating. Kev, can you explain why that is?
Yeah, Irish people are pretty stupid. Did you need me to elaborate?
No, I mean,
Cool.
I think you said all you needed to say in that one. Jake, are you excited for this fight? You did seem to signal to me that you would watch this one.
Yes, I am excited. I think very highly of Cerrone's fight style. I think it's really cool how he's able to just go out there and fight everybody all the time, because he literally said, if they'll let me fight every other weekend, I would do it. And he kind of took that to heart. He asked Joe Rogan in the ring one time, hey, can I fight in a month? And then they were like, that's not my Joe Rogan's like, that's not a question you need to ask me. You need to ask Dana. And then he fought a month later. So I admire Donald Cerrone as a fighter. Not to say I don't admire Conor, but I don't know. I think Donald is going to be able to beat up Conor.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what kind of position Conor McGregor is. If you believe John Kavanagh, he is in the best version of Conor McGregor that we've ever seen. Hype. Hashtag.
Mm-hmm. Well, every coach might say that, you know.
My coach would never say that about me. 100% would never say, you've never seen this version of Raph before, because that would be a bold-faced lie. So, no, some coaches would not say that. Could you imagine, Kev, you know my black belt, Marcelo. Could you imagine Marcelo ever saying, oh, this Hoffa's probably the best version of Hoffa you've ever seen. He's very different.
No, I could not. I could imagine him being like, you should have seen Hoffa 2 years ago. He's quicker. He's more focused.
And if we're being quite honest, smarter too, probably then too.
Discipline. I don't know.
Ever since he got into that podcast stuff, man, he go up a hoagie size.
Well, no, he's not that person. Relax.
Oh, he's not? Okay. Well, I don't know.
No, do me a solid though. Because I know you haven't. You can tell in the impression, but do the impression that you have of Bernardo telling us that we need to go to BJJ Fanatics for a new John Danaher DVD about DVDs. Go.
Okay, guys. So look, John Danaher come to my school. He come here. He's going to teach a great DVD for BJJ Fanatics. You can follow us on the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We got a LinkedIn. We just got into YouTube as well. So if you want to come here for BJJ Fanatics, I'm Bernardo Faria, by the way. I know you know this, but I like to introduce myself. John Danaher is the guy with the Finny Pack all the time. He teach Gordon Ryan. He's going to teach us how to make a DVD. He got the machine. It's going to put the DVD inside. You're going to take it out, and it's going to make the DVD for you, man. And then you can make whatever you want. You can Toy Story 2 on the DVD. Don't matter, man.
That's great. Yeah.
That is very good.
I took your advice from the grappling hour into consideration. I sounded too much like Kermit the Frog when I used to do it, and now I worked on it. Also, I actually watched one of his technique videos. I was like, oh, I need to do that. You ever? I know you like to do impressions, Raph. You ever like
Yes.
do it and then you hear like them in a voice clip, the person you're doing an impression of, and you're like, oh, I need to do that, and then you get a little better at your impression.
No, I'm pretty perfect whenever I do my impressions, though.
Hey, Catherine Zeta-Jones is bipolar. Half the time she's Zeta, the other half she's Jones.
I'm sorry. Can we, you guys? I'm just gonna slightly steer us back towards two
Thank you,
performances
Kevin.
of the night and a fight of the night pick.
All right. So the way this works, if we get to a tie, you got to pick the two performances of the night. Those are just two individuals and one fight of the night. So, Kev, why don't you start us off on that?
This one's gonna be easy. For my two performances of the night, I'm going with an abs parlay of
Okay.
Anthony Showtime Pettis and Drew unnicknamed Dober. And
Yes.
then for fight of the night, there is no world where Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone don't get fight of the night. It's just not going to happen. That's the fight of the night.
Okay. Jake, what do you got for us?
I think knockout of the night.
Nope.
Could-
Performances
wait,
of the
wait.
night.
Oh, so performances of the night, meaning it could be
Just two people, doesn't matter by submission or by knockout. They don't do those anymore.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna agree with him and say that yeah, Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone definitely get fight of the night. There's gonna be the most hype surrounding that. I think Raquel Pennington and Holly Holm's gonna be a performance of the night, and so is Claudia and Alexa Grasso.
Okay, so let's review again. With the performances of the night, they go to individuals.
Yeah, I said Holly Holm and Claudia Gadelia.
So those are the two people you're giving them to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Jake, we asked you a little while ago what you thought, if you had any ideas for a bet. Do you have one?
I'm gonna be honest. I blanked out on that as soon as you asked me to do the impression.
Yeah.
My mind went into a different world. I started thinking like Bernardo. Oh, that's a good. Okay, I have to teach a technique as Bernardo Faria, or the winner or loser has to. If
That's
you
pretty
lose.
good for you. Kev does not do impressions famously on the show.
I
Yeah, but
certainly
it
won't
would
be
be
doing
even-
Bernardo Faria on a. This Kansas kid will not be attempting that one.
But Kev, what do you have as a counter?
I was going to truthfully, so my counter was going to be on the next podcast if he'll come back. The one of us that wins removes ourselves from the whorish race we've gotten into for your affection. I would rightfully expect him to say, look, I was trying to become the side piece of Verbal Tap, and for that, I'm sorry. Like, I wanted omission. Kevin is clearly the superior partner. That's who you belong with. Simultaneously, if he wins, I mean, I'm prepared to write his forward for his cover letter on his resume.
You know what's sad is Raph and I went out to this bar / restaurant, and we were sitting down for dinner, and he looks me deep in the eyes and he says, I don't want to work with Kevin anymore. He's weird. He smells, quite frankly, and I need a replacement. But here's what I need to do. You're going to take a little bit of heat. I'm going to make it seem like you're trying to get replaced, or that you want to replace Kevin. I'm going to make it seem like that. I just need you to tough it out. You just got to, kind of bob and weave. And I'm just exposing you right now, Raph, because you're the one that told me that you needed
I'm
a
going to let
replacement.
you know that 100% could never be me because there's so many unconjugated sentence structure parts to that story.
I know.
But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Raph actually talks in full sentences. That's
Yes.
usually about what he does.
That's-
However, I do appreciate that. Yes,
And
we
I am
could.
very well showered. Thank you. I am
Thank
gentleman's showerer with jiu-jitsu, sometimes before and after. Think about that.
Yes.
That's
It's a
good.
very nice gesture. It's what people should do. Let's say this. Yes. So we always hold it out so that there's an offer. So Jake, would you be willing to come back on next week's show after the fights and talk the fights then?
Yes. Yes, I would. I
okay.
would love to.
There's nothing more to that. Okay. Then
Yeah, I know
what
that.
we'll do is we will make the announcement of who wins on that show. We'll talk the fights. And I think we'll have to do something of that. If Jake does lose, though, I do like the idea of him doing Bernardo as a technique video demonstration. And if Kevin loses, maybe he'll just do a video. You know what it is? Kevin will express his disappointment as me, as a video. I think that's fair.
Does he have an impression of you?
No, but Kevin can get the vibe of me without actually doing an impression of me. We've done this show for so long now. He knows exactly how I either put people down or how I interview. So at this point, he would express my disapproval of whatever nonsense you're doing. Does that sound fair?
That sounds fair. Yeah.
You're doing it well. You're just not doing it the way I would do it, which is perfect.
This 100% was something I have said in the past.
Yeah.
It's so great.
No, Jake, you're funny. You're just not as funny as me.
You're doing your best, and that's obvious.
Yeah, there's a little more urgency to what I say for these things, but we're in the ballpark here. All right. Well, Jake, where can the people find you on the Instagram or the social medias?
At Jake Watson Official, no capitals, no spaces, no underscores, just Jake Watson Official on Instagram. I also have a dumb, bad Twitter. Ooh, I have a Twitch. There we go. Jake Watson underscore BJJ on Twitch. I'm trying to stream more and have a creative way to engage with people because I think that's really fun and I really like streaming. I play fighting games online and I go to tournaments and stuff like that. Something not a lot of people know about me, but now it's on the internet. So hi. But yeah, I want to stream on Twitch, and Raph is supposed to have me on for some grappling hour thing where I'm supposed to go against Keenan Cornelius in a Super Smash Brothers melee match. But
you think I don't want to make that happen?
I know you want to make it happen. I'm
the one that's pushing for it. Keenan's just busy building a school. Like he can't take time off.
Yeah, building a school that no one likes, unfortunately, even though he's actually got a really good idea.
Yeah, I know. But I will be accosting him very soon because I probably will go to one of their open mats at Legion at some point. So when I do go, you can rest assured of the many things I will yell at Keenan about. That is probably at least in the top 5.
Yeah, I really want to do that. And that's, twitch.tv/Jake Watson _BJJ. I really like streaming. I want to do it more this year because I think it's just fun for people to see that different side of me than just being a competitor all the time. And I think it's interesting to stream and kind of get more people into jiu-jitsu that don't do jiu-jitsu as well,
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and close this on out. We're very excited that you were able to come on the show this week. Very happy that you did. We look forward to bringing you back on next week, Jake.
Thank you. It was good to meet you, Kevin, even though quite frankly, you were rather bad at roasting, but
Jake Watson, 7th on the flow charts, 15th on the, I don't know, quick comment column. We'll work on it.
You know what? That's great. Yeah, he is coming in at 300th on the Verbal Tap guest list.
We've just heard back he's now 8th for his performance on this podcast. Sorry, Flow Grappling.
Yay.
Yeah, it can only hurt you to be on this show. Anyway, Jake, thank you very much for coming on. We look forward to bringing you back on, bud.
I appreciate it. I can't wait.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is